Welcome to The Cynical Developer, the podcast that helps you to improve your development knowledge and career through explaining the latest and greatest in development technology and providing you with what you need to succeed as a developer. We've recently launched our Patreon page, which can be found at cynicaldeveloper.com/Patreon. If you aren't familiar with Patreon, it's an easy way for those who are interested in this show to help out by simply pledging a small amount each month in sponsorship. Now that could be as little as $5 a month, which is about £3.80, or as much as you like. You will enable us to dedicate more time creating more content to help you, including videos, more blog posts, and even more shows. So if you can, head over to cynicaldeveloper.com/Patreon and get involved. In this episode, we talk about the new bug tracking app called the Bug Squasher, and we're joined today by Kirk Days to talk about it. Kirk has been featured in Forbes, radio shows, and on other podcasts in the US. He is the CEO and founder of two companies, Treehouse 51, a digital agency in Newport Beach, California, and the Bug Squasher, a universal web app that helps you diagnose site issues. And that's a system we're here to talk about today. So welcome to the show, Kirk.
James, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, thanks for taking some time out of your busy day. Running two businesses can't be easy.
It's definitely humbling. I come from the life of working the 9-to-5 job, so I started this and wasn't sure what to expect. And somebody on my team, his name's Matt, he has a saying of "How do you know what you don't know?" Well, when you own your business, that comes up a lot. How do you know what you don't know?
Yeah, and I'm well known for doing too much and doing too much is what was it was the birth of the podcast, actually, because I had full-time jobs and I had a bit on the side, which was building websites, and I got rid of those clients because I wanted to focus on my full-time employment. And then I find myself with a couple of free hours a week. What do I do with that? Do I spend time with the family? Do I relax? No, start a podcast.
Well, artists have to create art, so.
Yeah, and I think if I went to the doctors, I'd probably be diagnosed with some sort of mental illness because I can't sit and do nothing. I get bored very quickly, so I've always got to be thinking, always got to be doing something active.
Nice.
Anyway, we're not here tonight to talk about my mental well-being. We're here to talk about something called the Bug Squasher. So, what is the Bug Squasher?
So the Bug Squasher helps people diagnose site issues. And the story behind it, I think a lot of your listeners and probably you will relate to on how it became a reality. So about a year ago, give or take a few months, we had a client we were making a website for, and she was this older lady in her 70s, and we're making the site for her. We give it to her for her to review, and she sends me this email that, no joke, it was like 10,000 words long, single space. Yeah, and then the body of the message was the issue. And I was just like, geez. I remember waking up to this and just being like, of course, it's going to be one of those days. And just looking at it, and then her website wasn't a small one. It was kind of meaty. And so I had to ask her, I had to say, like, you sent me the problem, but I have no idea where the problem is. Yep. What web page it's on. And so I asked her that, and it was like I kicked her puppy. It was the worst thing I could have asked. She was irritated. She was like, how come you don't know this? It just set her off, and she just got really upset. Eventually, as we got to talking, I asked all the questions that any type of developer asks to diagnose these issues. What type of browser you're on, Firefox, Chrome. Of course, she was on Internet Explorer. Yep. What type of device, just all these questions to help you to diagnose it. And I remember talking to the guys, and we were kind of like crying and laughing about it because anybody who's ever worked on a website knows this pain. They've gotten that type of email, they've gotten that type of text message, Skype message. Like, it happens all the time. And we have to ask these people, like, well, how did that problem happen? What happened? So when I was talking to the guys, I just started riffing, and I was like, I wish there was a way we could collect all this information from our clients and not have them be put on the spot or feel like they're put on the spot, and they could just click a button and we could get all this information without them having to tell us.
Yeah, because I guess it's hard for those clients that they're not really techie, and if they were, they probably would have built the website themselves. So asking them those sort of things like what version of the browser are you on, what version of Windows Update or Mac OS are you on, and all those things. I think the customer feel threatened a little bit by it because they don't know, and they maybe think that you're leading them down the garden path a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially older clients who aren't really tech savvy, they're kind of like, "Didn't I hire you to know this stuff? Can't you figure this out?" And it's like, well, this is the process, you know.
Yeah. So it's come around because of this this one website, and very often you get the "it's broken," but you got a 10,000 word long email, which sounds like it was fun to read through, and it bore the bug squasher from it.
Yeah, so it started there. I told the guys, and then I was like, "Let's do this." We started building it. We actually built it for WordPress first, so test it out, and we used it on some of our internal clients, and everything just kept growing like a fire. I was just like, once we had one feature, I said we need to add more features. And once we did it for WordPress, I was like, it's not enough to be WordPress. We need to be ubiquitous. So now it works for any type of website, Laravel, Wix, anything that you have. It's just a line of code that you add to the site.
Nice. So definitely adhering to the KISS principle of keep it simple, stupid. Then.
Yeah, that's been. I guess we should steal that motto. Actually, one of our big things is this all started because communication was painful.
Yep.
And when we started developing the bug squasher, I kept telling the guys, let's streamline communication as much as possible. Let's talk to people without actually talking to them. Let's get information without putting people on the spot. So a big key factor of the bug squasher is everything on there is simple. You don't get flooded with like the fluff of designs or just things that you never use, tools that you never use. It's all the stuff that you would need in order to do the job.
Nice. So there are other applications out there already, like VSTS or Jira. What makes the bug squasher that much different, that makes it stand out apart from that ease of access for the client?
The difference between us and I would say Jira's like the grand poppy of them all. That's the one like running the show right now.
Yep.
The difference between us is them as well. They've been around for years, they have the bigger budget. We just have a better mousetrap. So they have like all these, when you sign up for them and use them, there's all this information that's given to you that's just not relevant to do the job. They also have those type of platforms also get you on like how many people can you have on the platform. So like a lot of project management systems do this, like Asana, Basecamp, Podio. You can have like one free user, two free users, and then they get you when you add the third free user and the price jumps up like 300%.
Yeah.
So for us, it's all about simplicity.
So you said that we just add one line of code to our website. What sort of code is it that we add to our websites?
So when you sign up for the bug squasher, you're giving a unique line of code, and this code is unique to whatever website you add. So if let's say you add, I sign up, I add Treehouse 51, you'll be given a code for Treehouse 51. Within that code, it only works for that one website. So you can't say like, okay, no one else can take your code.
Sure.
That's for security reasons. You're given this code, and then you add it to the header of your website, and it's just a basic line of code.
Right. So it's just JavaScript then, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's pretty technology agnostic. So if I wanted to put it in my .NET website, I could do that. If I wanted to put it into my React or Vue or Angular website, it would work.
Yeah, it works on any type of website, any type of framework. You do need to have like that client, the older lady, she probably couldn't put it on her website by herself. She would need guidance.
Yeah.
Just because the unexpected will happen. Something will break. She'll accidentally delete something. So we do have like guides and videos that tell you like how to add it to like WordPress. There's a ton of plugins for WordPress where it shows you like you just download it and then you can add a code anywhere you want. So you just add the code to the header of your website and then you're up and running. You have this. You have the bug squasher on your website. So You can share that with your client, your team, whomever, and they can report bugs on your website. And then on the Bug Squasher website, you have this back-end panel where you can track the bugs, you can assign them to people, you can share reports, all that good stuff.
Sure. So it's a bit like adding the very basic Google Analytics to your website.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very much like that, yeah.
Awesome. So can the bug reporter, so the user that's reported the bug, can they track what they've reported via the Bug Squasher?
So yes, we have a ton of cool features for them. A few of them are, there is the reporting function, so they can share a report with their client and they can pick what elements they want to share with them. So I'm sure you can relate. You don't always want to tell the client everything. Some information they just don't care about, it's not relevant to them, and it's kind of like scary.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pick what information you want to show, and it generates a report. You can just share that link with them. And then also with your team, you can have you have the option to have a team report. And so all of it's included, different links that you can share internally and with your client. And then another cool feature that I forgot to mention, I think it always gets me excited, is in a perfect world, you would never make changes to your live website, right? You would have a development site, you do everything there, and then you would push it live. In reality, most people don't have a budget for development sites. Most people are like, I need this change. I needed it yesterday.
Yeah.
So one of the features the Bug Squasher has is, easy communication, streamlined communication. We have the ability to whitelist IP addresses, which means you can add the Bug Squasher to a live website, and you can put in your team's IP address, and perhaps the website owner or the marketing team you're working with, whomever, put in their IP addresses into the Bug Squasher, and only those people will see the Bug Squasher.
Oh, that's cool. So it's not available all the time to all the users of your system. Right.
So you can add it to your live site. You can also add it to your development site, but most people have live sites more than development sites.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. And like you said, people often do the editing to the live website. And I was actually having a conversation today with a couple of developer friends about the Cynical Developer website. I'm planning to overhaul it and improve it. And my local development copy that's in my version control is actually massively out of date, probably by about 18 months compared to the live site, because it's written in Umbraco. I do tweak it and add things into it in live, which if I did that in my day-to-day job and I was my boss, I would fire me for doing it.
Yeah.
So
it's scary. I know you can appreciate it, but I've been in the same situation where the client's like, just make the change now, and we're like, whoa, on the live site? We're not going to test it. We're not going to do something before. And sometimes it's just how it is. People just don't have the budget. They're not set up for it. They don't have the gear for it, and you just got to do it and pray that nothing breaks.
Yeah. Exactly, and budget is a massive thing, especially if you've only got a small site, or it's a new site that you're starting, and you're trying to get something off the ground. You haven't got hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds to go and burn on hosting and things like that, and it can be difficult.
Oh, absolutely, and it's also easy to forget. I've noticed a big trend with our clients. Some of them we did say, like, we can't go forward without a development site. This project's just too big. And some of them are like, what's the development URL? They like always forget, and they look at the live site, or they get confused.
Yeah.
So that stuff still happens.
Yeah. So you mentioned that there was a backend dashboard. Is that just for the developers, or can the customers get in to see that?
You can share it with your customers if you want to. You could put them like as a team member.
Right.
But probably you wouldn't, and I don't see a lot of people doing that. What I do see people doing is I'm a web developer and I have a team. I created an account and I'm going to share access with my team.
Yep.
And then with your client, you would share the report with them.
Right. Okay.
And the reason why, again, is like, if you could share it with them, but then they'd be able to see everything you're doing, and you don't always want questions to come up when it doesn't have to. So there might be something in there where it's like, guys, this has AIDS. How are we going to fix it? So you might not want them to see like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I have worked in companies where they did that, and there were systems that were reporting directly out of the issue tracker, and we weren't allowed as developers to actually track our work properly. So you would have like a parent task, and then as a developer you'd probably go in there and add subtasks to it to say, I'm going to do this bit, so maybe the UI, then I'm going to do the middle bit, then I'm going to do the data layer, I need to do something in the database. We weren't allowed to do that because the customer could see it, and they would see that there was lots and lots of tickets in there and stuff, and they'd start seeing how long things took, and just like it's probably not the best idea that way. But showing them a report that's been massaged and made easier to understand is definitely the best way to go. So that sounds good.
Right, and you could also, with us, you can also put like the tags. You can leave comments, so you can have that stuff too. You can have the best of both worlds. But absolutely,
yeah, cool. So these reports, are they just web-based? Can they be emailed out in, say, maybe a PDF or something like that?
You can download them as PDFs, and you can also automate, like when somebody reports a bug, we have the option to put in your email address, so it goes to your email and you're notified about it. I think the easiest thing is just, with Treehouse 51, with our clients, a big thing is communication, giving them updates, letting them know what's going on. So for us, we find send in that email every like 2 weeks or so. Hey, here's what's going on. Click here to check out the report. I prefer that because you can actually measure it, and you can be like, okay, how many people went here?
Yep.
So that's how we use it. But you do have the option to do the PDF, email alerts, the links. I'm a strong believer. Give the client as much information as possible that is relevant to them.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like the fact that you can give them all that information. It's a little bit hands off, and I guess that they're not bugging you every 5 minutes to say, "Is it been fixed? Is it been fixed?" You can just say to them, "You will get notified when it's fixed because the system will do it for us." And then they get a nice email or a link, and they can go and have a look at it, and they can feel a little bit proud that they've contributed to the website as well, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not always going to be your client that possibly reports it. It could be your client's clients.
Mm-hmm. That's another feature we have in the Bug Squasher, where we've had so many clients where we bring on somebody and then we're doing a website for them, and then their wife gives us feedback, and their child gives us feedback, and their cousin. And at one point there's like 10 different people, and it's like, who's the client for this?
Yeah.
So the Bug Squasher also tracks like IP addresses, so you can be like, okay, John reported these 10 bugs, Susan reported these 3 bugs, or whatever. So that's also helpful too if you come across those scenarios. We've come across them, and this has really helped us to be like, the way the Treehouse 51 works is we now have, and within the contract, we only work with one person on the client side, and they're the ones who have to be our point of contact. So with the Bug Squasher, we can say with confidence, like, hey, you got 20 people reporting this stuff. It should just be one person.
Sure. So could I take this and put it on the Cynical Developer website? So I mentioned that I'm going to redevelop it. I think this would be quite good that when I do something stupid and do it in live and it breaks something and I don't notice, that one of the listeners would be able to report it via the, because I know I've had people report issues on the podcast in the show notes and stuff. So it seems like it could be a solution for me on that.
Yeah, you absolutely could put it on your website. And as of this morning, we've introduced a free trial, so you could do it risk-free, 14 days, play with it, have fun with it. If you put it on your live website right now, just remember everybody will see it. Yep. So if you have a development URL, maybe it'd be better to be like, hey guys, come over here and check this out. You can play with it there if you don't want people to see it. Or the other option, again, is you can say like, oh, I'm going to put it on my live website, but I only want these 10 people to see it. And yep. Just go onto the Bug Squasher and get their IP addresses, and you can go from there.
Right. So that IP restriction, is it whitelists or blacklists, or can it do both?
It whitelists it.
Right.
So only those people will see it.
Sure. Cool. Yeah. So I guess taking it into a corporate setting would be quite good, especially if you've got quite a large business that maybe there's a large sign-off by committee, so it goes to a lot of different departments and things. How unproductive that is, it still happens. That this would be quite good because you could send it out to them and say, look, this is the change. What do you think? And if there's any problems, they can obviously submit it using the bug squasher within the browser.
Yeah, my vision is that developers across the world will never get another email, text, or Skype message on changes. It will just be obsolete, because it is obsolete. It is a waste of time when a client sends you an email. Sorry, clients, but usually their bug isn't worth an email. Usually it's just like, okay, well, you sent me an email, now I need to ask you these 10 questions. And we're just burning time and resources.
Yeah. It seems it's a bit of a step up from an exception manager that I wrote many, many years ago, that it used to report all of the data that it could about the user from their browser, because we found that when errors did happen, that we didn't know what sort of browser it was and things like that, and we'd end up having to, like we said before, ask the user what browser they were using when they found the error. But this seems like an even better way to do it, because you can get them to actually submit some details along with that problem.
Yeah, I mean, the other part that we haven't touched on too much is when they submit that bug, they can take a screenshot, or they can upload a screenshot, and they can annotate on it too. So some developers like that. They like seeing what's going on. And in the not too distant future, so remember, I keep saying streamlined communication. We did all of this for the bug squasher. I got super excited. The guys thought we were done, and then I was talking to them. I'm like, I wish we could take this a step further. And the guys are like, oh no, now like, what does this guy want to do now? And so I'm talking to them, and I'm like, it's great that they can click and send us a screenshot. It's great that I can tag those bugs, assign it to Matt or whomever. But what would be iconic is if they could click and they could record the issue. So we figured out a way to do that we're going to be adding that to the bug squasher, where in the not too distant future, a user will be able to hit record. They won't even have to take a screenshot, and then they can just go through the page, and we'll have that video feed of what the problem is.
Nice. That, I think, is very, very powerful, because you get a lot of QA testers that will have separate software, and they will go and they will record the steps they go through to prove a problem exists. And I guess to totally flip it on its head a little bit, when we were doing QA sign-off manual testing, if you have your stories and that you're doing, sometimes in some businesses I've worked at, they've wanted us to record us actually testing that functionality. That you could misuse the bug squasher to actually fulfill that role as well. And that would negate having to have more and more licenses for more and more software to record the bug. It's all there in this system, or well, not the bug, but the feature.
Oh, that's super clever. I've never thought of that.
Well, I will put my my invoice for royalties in the post for you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a really, really good idea. Yeah.
So we've sort of touched on it. I sort of asked how it compares to other systems that are already out there. Is there any integration points where we can actually feed these bugs into VSTS or Jira or something, so that the clients get everything back from the bug squasher, but we can actually put it into our bigger reports for the wider company, for the more technical, say, department heads and things like that want to see those sort of reports?
Right now, there's not. So that's coming up in the future. What you can do is like project management systems like Podio, Asana, Basecamp, those ones. All of them give you a user email. So you can put those emails in the bug squasher, and when tickets come up, it'll push to that platform.
Okay.
That'd be the closest thing that we have to that right now.
Yeah, that's integration that I've done in the past. I think I built an internal system for a telecommunications company. It was like a CRM system, and in that it had a report a bug, and you could fill in some details, and what it would do is it would actually send an email in the background, but it would send it to off to Jira, and it would get logged that way. So it's essentially doing the same thing, but in what I would probably say is probably a more advanced and better way than I whipped up in about 10 minutes.
Very cool.
Yeah. So this only works for websites. I can't use it in my Windows applications or anything like that then?
Right. So right now it's just for, you need to have a URL, you need to have a website.
Okay, cool. And you said that there was a 15-day trial, so I guess there's a fee for using the Bug Squasher.
So yes, I think I misspoke. It's a 14-day free trial.
Okay.
So 2 weeks, 14 days, and then we have 3 different plans. The only difference between the plans is how many bugs you can report. So it starts at $29.99 a month. That's plan 1, and then it goes up to $99.99 a month. That's the third plan. Only difference again is how many bugs. We don't get you on how many seats you can have. So I always hated. Like, I love Podio. I don't know if you ever had a chance to use it, but I love it. But I've always hated that they charge you for all these seats.
Yeah.
And, like, all of these platforms do it. So I remember when we were doing this, the guys were like, so what are we going to charge for seats? And I'm like, we're not charging for seats. Yep. Everybody can be a part of this. So you can add as many people as you want to your heart's content. The only difference is how many bugs you can report.
Cool. And you don't change the longevity of storage of those bugs or anything. They're always there as long as you've got a subscription.
Correct. And then the other thing to keep in mind is when you sign up, you need to decide if you're going to sign up for your live website or your development website. And so what I mean by that is, remember how we were talking about security and you'll get a unique token. So if you have a development website, an example would be dev.treehouse51.com/project name. So that's a development environment. You can put the Bug Squasher, you can buy a plan for that URL, and you can put it on unlimited dev projects. So if you have 100 clients, you can put the Bug Squasher on 100 projects.
Nice.
So that's logical, that works. But if you have, let's say, you want to put it on Treehouse 51, and then you want to put it on your client's website, that's Facebook.com, you can't. You need to buy a unique token for that. Sure. And that's for security purposes.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. It does make sense. So that's good. And if the listeners want to find out more about the Bug Squasher, maybe want to go and have a go with the 14-day trial, where should they go?
So if you want to learn more about the Bug Squasher, I actually recommend jumping on YouTube, looking for a rap video that we made called The Bug Squasher. Squash 'em. You can look up that, or just look up rap song for the Bug Squasher. You can have some laughs and get a tune stuck in your head. And the video we made for funsies to kind of spread brand awareness about the tool, but you can see what it does, hear about it, and check out the site. If you want to learn more about the site, just go to thebugsquasher.com and you can poke around. There is a free trial for 14 days, so you can play with it, check it out. If you want to get in contact with us, we're a small team, so all you got to do is hit contact and be like, hey, I want to talk to Kirk. So we're totally open and receptive to feedback and talking to people. That only makes the product and just everything overall better. So please do reach out if you want to connect.
Awesome. And we will put links to the rap video, to the website, and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and everything else where you can actually get in touch with Kirk and the Bug Squasher and also Treehouse 51 as well. It sounds like a really nice platform, and I'm going to go and have a look at it and have a play, I think. And I definitely think I'm going to be suggesting this to a few places that I've worked and places in the future, because I've been asked to build something like this before. So rather than build it, why bother? Someone else has already done it for you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you for taking the time out to come on and talk to us about the Bug Squasher. It's been good.
Yeah, I had fun.
Awesome. And thank you to everybody out there for listening to The Cynical Developer. I'm James Stoddart. You've been listening to Kirk Days talking about the Bug Squasher. So now go on, get out of here, go squash some bugs. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, then drop us an email, a tweet, or leave a comment on the website where you can find all the resource links, show notes for each episode. And if you enjoy this episode, please leave a review on your favourite podcast platform, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it is, and help The Cynical Developer to reach more developers around the globe.